Hey people, it's Kelly of printprayslay, and I have something super fun to share with everybody. I can't believe that that it's here. Now, this is something that when you first see it, you're like, okay, it's cute, but I don't know what it is. So this is a chatterbox, and I don't know if you all remember chatterboxes, but they were the games that me and my friends played where you went like this with a piece of paper and then you open it up and your friend asks you a question like, well, what's your favorite color or something like that. This is that same thing, but faith-based. And the questions are ones that can go between children or between adults. I think it's really neat to ask these questions. These are fun questions. There are 8 total, as you can see by, the numbers that stop at 8. I'll go through the questions real quick. As after I cut it out. So it's a perfect square. So the first thing you want to do, Dallas has entered the room. So the first thing you want to do is have your cutter. If you do not have a cutter, it's perfectly fine. You can use some scissors and just cut it. You do want the cut to be as precise as possible. So like that ain't it. So you want to move it over a little bit, Kelly. It's just hard to see while I'm taping. There we go. Ooh, that's perfect. Look at that. That was perfect. Like it's like nothing left on this side. Let's see if I can keep that up while I'm trying to do it and look at the camera at the same time to make sure I'm in frame and doing it right. Let's see. That one looks a little off. There we go. There we go. Better. Okay. Slide you over here. Ooh, I'm doing really good. Look at, I'm just cutting. Yes. All right. Now that that's out of the way, so now you have this perfect square. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is match these 2 corners together on the opposite side. All right, and I wanted to tell you that there are guidelines, these white guidelines right here, that'll help you with actually folding. I know some people have a score that can help them with this, like a score. I don't know if it's called a scoring board or what, but and does it have to be perfect? No, but you do want it to be as accurate as possible so that it can function at its best. So by scoring, if you don't have that, then you can use the back of some heavy scissors and do that if that's your thing. It's not really necessary, but if you want it to be crisp, then you can do that. That is the only time you're going to see me do it. So now we got this line down the middle. You know what? It might help if I had something colorful. So you can see, okay, yeah. Because it was just blending in with the white. It was like, do you see the paper now? So I just wanted you to be at least able to see the paper. So that's the crease right there. Then since you already have a crease this way, you now want a crease this way. So now you're bringing these 2 corners together. And making another point. All right, so that's when I go. There we go. Okay, so now you have what is an X. You have this right here and these right here. X. Now you take each of these corners and bring them to the middle. You see how I make a faint bend first and then I look at it to make sure I'm bending properly. I don't just crease it and say it is what it is. I kind of make sure I'm on that line that is already there. Now I put this one in. You want these to like touch. There's lines right here that need to meet. And again, bend lightly, and then you look at it, and that's when you can really bend it. All right, and keep going until you have all the corners bent in. Okay, so now you have another square, a little square, with numbers on the outside and the questions on the inside. So you take this square that's this way and you flip it over to the question side. Okay, now that it's color, I can move that out the way because now it's just clashing. All right, so you have your questions. You fold these corners into the middle as well. And again, there's lines there to help you, guide you, and make sure you're folding on the right line. Okay. So you're going to end up with all of the numbers being on the inside. I am using copy paper. I think you can use cardstock. It's a little harder to bend. It's more sturdy. So for me, copy paper was good enough. And for me, copy paper allowed me to do this multiple times for the individuals in my house because everybody wanted their own. Okay, so then you have this square. This is the last square. There is no more folding in the squares. Now you're just trying to reinforce the bends. So there's a bend here amongst the squares. You fold that over and you just bend there. Then you want to bend the opposite way amongst the squares again. And that's it. So this is where your fingers go. So you can put those in right now. And this is where your fingers go on this one. You put those in. So the more you use it, the easier it will be to go through. But once you start using it, then so this is how you use it. All right, you can do it with one hand. I mean, if you're as talented as me, you can do it with one hand. I'm just joking. So these are the patterns on it. So what a person would do would be to pick a pattern. So if I said diamond, so this is a diamond pattern. So I will open it up to the diamond. And then, because this is the diamond side, if I said flower, then I would open it up to the flower side. Okay, so for me, that's how I made it. So that's the instructions. I had for them to pick a pattern, either by pointing or by just simply saying, stripes, colorful stripes. Okay, so I picked diamond. So these are the options for diamond. I have the 7, the 8, the 4, and the 3. So now I can pick a number. I pick 7. So then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then a person will pick between 1, 2, 5, and 6. So let's say they pick 1. So then you pull up 1 and you read the question. So 1 is on the top, 2 is on the bottom. Or you can ask both questions. So let's go over the questions. So I'll tell you behind everything or what, because I already played this with my family. So it says, what is the best thing about being a Christian? I asked that question to my 7-year-old, and she said the best thing about being a Christian was about making each other happy and loving each other. So that's what she said. After I first had to explain what Christian was, and I really, really thought that she knew that. So that brings me to the whole purpose of this is to it's like communication starters. It can be an icebreaker if you're in a small group or just in a, friends over type of thing. um I learned that she didn't know that that was the actual term for what you call those who believe in Christ. So, and I explained it to her. She was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah," because we talk about it all the time, and we're in children. I mean, she's in children's church. I'm not, so she's in children's church. So I know that she's heard that term before, but that was her legit question. Um, and I just thought that these questions really helped me learn interesting things about my family, because these aren't the typical questions. Nothing against regular questions like "What is your favorite scripture?" I think that does open you up to learn more about the person and why that scripture is important to them and where they are as far as their growth. And that's a conversation starter as well. I just thought that these questions were a little bit different, so I'm hoping that you like them. I'm going to continue on. Then this question is, what are your spiritual gifts? So for me, my spiritual gift is encouragement and humor. I tend to say and do things not really thinking them through to be funny, but they end up making people laugh and making them happy and making them smile. And I think that's a gift. I think laughter is definitely something that heals you. So when people are having a bad time or they're just not having enough fun, that's where I come in. And yeah, um, encouragement, I'm really, really good at that. I remember my friend telling me that since grade school, and it just dawned on me that that is an actual spiritual gift. So I'm really, really excited about having that gift, like to encourage people. Um, I just thought about it sometimes and I'm like, I definitely need to use it more on myself. But that's what my spiritual gifts are. If you could ask God one question right now, what would it be? I think my answer, was it my answer? Yeah, my answer, my daughter, my middle child, Eden wanted to know how many people are on the earth or how many people on the earth ever. Um, God definitely has that answer. For me, I wanted to know like everything, like the history of the dinosaurs, like what happened to them, what is going on, what was their purpose and stuff like that, and why they aren't here now. Well, you know what, my one of my favorite movie series is Jurassic Park. I explained that in my tour of my office. um and I really do get it. I don't know if I really would want a T-Rex or a raptor walking around with me, but I just think they're awesome animals. So that was the question that I had. The next one was, if you had $1 million, how would you bless others? My husband answered this one, and he said he would start a farm and a manufacturing company to supply healthy foods to those in food deserts in America. And I thought that that was interesting because that's not something I ever asked my husband. But when he answered that question, it did tell me a lot about him, that I did already know. Like his background is in hospitality, his heart is for helping people, and he loves to serve. Um, and he loves to serve food specifically. So, someone who didn't know him would really learn that from him from answering this question. So I thought that was neat. What did I answer when my daughter asked me? I don't remember what my question was for $1 million. Oh, I did. Okay, so for me, and I know people like my husband had this real deep thought out answer, right? Mine was that a selected few people, I would take them on a really, really nice vacation, like to a amusement park, an island, like a good 2 week, 1 month holiday type vacation. Because a lot of people in America, let me just specifically say where I am, we don't get that kind of break. To a lot of people, this quarantine is the longest that they've been out from work and like ever. Whereas in other countries, they tend to get longer holiday and longer breaks, and that's not the case with a lot of average Americans. And I think that people are stressed and need that reboot and need that just joy. So for me, I wanted to give joy. I wanted to have fun. I do know that, some people will be like, oh, I give it to everyone who has, an illness that can't afford treatment. I think all of that is really, really good, and some of it does weigh more than others. But that's just what I would do with $1 million, is have fun with it. with the people who don't get an opportunity to have that kind of fun. So that was what I said. If God's love was a color, what color would it be and why? So I didn't really think long about this, honestly. You know what I think now that I'm looking at the chatterbox? I think I saw these clouds and immediately chose blue, but I had a reason. So I chose blue because the sky and the water, I do know that one reflects the other, and that's the reason why it's blue. But I felt like it was God's favorite color because it's everywhere. Like blue is everywhere. And it's a really, really pretty color. Like it was one of my favorite colors back in the day. It is now orange. But that's the color of love that I thought of is water, sky. So sky, you think air, the breath we need, the air that we take in, can't survive without it. Water, again, an element that we need, can't survive without it. God's favorite color is blue in my eyes. It's just blue all the way. So the color of love for me, I think, is blue. If God were to answer one prayer for you, what would it be? My immediate answer when my daughter asked me this question was to cure my other two kids of sickle cell disease. And then I reflected on it and I was like, oh, I know I wanted to tell you guys these answers. And I was like, man, does that prayer sound selfish? And I was like, why do we immediately, possibly not everyone, think that way? I don't know if any prayer is necessarily selfish. And then this isn't a prayer for me. This is a prayer for somebody else. But I still was like, man, should I have prayed like cure cancer? Like that would have reached way, way more people. But that's just who I thought about immediately. If that was one prayer that I can pray, is that He would heal my kids. So that was my answer. Let's see. Which miracle of Jesus would you perform? So I was playing with my daughter and I said, turning water into wine. But that wouldn't be it. My husband, not anything against that. I think that was really cool. That was really neat. He was like, keep the party going. Boom, water into wine. And I believe that was his first miracle. So my husband said walking on water. And I was like, man, that was a cool miracle. Maybe I should have said that one. And then I asked my daughter later on, and she said walking on water and flying. And I said, you said walking on water because that's what your dad said. And she was like, no, I didn't say that because that's what daddy said. And I would want to fly like Jesus. And I was like, I don't recall him flying. Like, I just don't remember the text saying, and then he flew to Gethsemane. Like, I just don't remember like the flying part. And like, it's really awesome that, my daughter opens me up to a lot of things. So she Googling it. We on the internet and we Googling it. But her immediate answer before we got on Google, she was like, well, how do you think he got to heaven, Mom? He ascended. He flew. I was like, you know what? Touche, little kid. Touche. Jesus flew. So, yeah, we Google it and Jesus can fly. So that's what it said. I don't know why I never thought of it. I don't know if I just thought he like teleported. I don't know what I was thinking. But apparently, aviation is what my daughter would want her miracle to be, to be able to fly. The next question is, if you could meet one person from the Bible, who would it be and why? My husband said somebody interesting, because that's like the last person I thought of. Honestly, I don't know. I just wouldn't have thought of this person, but he said Judas. And it was interesting because we saw the Easter Sight and Sound Easter play yesterday, and I kind of understood it more because his reasoning. Because I was like, why would you want to meet him? Out of all the people in the Bible, you only get this one chance. why would you want to meet that person? And he said to understand his frame of mind, like what will make you do such a thing. You spend time with a person. Well, on the Sight and Sound Easter play that we watched yesterday, yesterday was Easter. It explains, I don't know when you're gonna watch this, but yesterday was Easter 2020. The Easter of indoors. And Judas had more airtime on there to explain. He was going in about how he gave up his life and he'd been following Jesus for 3 years. He was broke. He has nothing to show for it. And I was like, oh, I never thought about how somebody, if you weren't all in and you weren't invested, then you did look at it like, I left my home, I left my wife, I left my kids, I left my career, and I followed this man across the desert, and he doing, what I would say is okay things. Like, I mean, he healed people that's not me. He was just explaining his point of view. And I could definitely understand how a person could feel like that if they're not all in. So you got to be all in. Else you can stray. Your thoughts can get all wrapped up in you, and what you are not gaining, or you don't see the benefit for you at the time. But that was just one perspective. We really don't know what was going on. He could have been possessed. I don't know why he did. Well, he did what he did to fulfill. It had to be done. It's just real unfortunate. But for him, that, his situation and how everything went down with him. But the person that I picked, because I was thinking, and you want to say Jesus, right? And I was like, I mean Jesus. And I was like, well, you know what? And this was before Easter. And when I saw it again, and when I saw that play on Easter, I really had a better understanding of why I chose this person. My person that I would like to meet from the Bible would be Mary. And I explained it to my husband, and I'm explaining it to you guys. And outside of her being like, just awesome woman, like she was it. I'm a parent that watches their children suffer, and she went through seeing and being around when her child had to suffer, knowing that was their situation and that was his calling. So it would be to one, applaud her for being strong enough, because she could have been on some, man, you don't really gotta do this. Did God really tell you that? You could just wait it out. I don't know, do it tomorrow. She could have, did some things to try to keep him from his purpose, from her own selfishness and her own feelings. And so to me, it was really strong to be able to go through that and to be able to function afterwards. And your faith and everything like that. But it just, even when I saw it in the play, like to hear her cry, like, oh, I just wanted to, because we watched a little bit of Passion of the Christ also. And, that was way more graphic than Sight and Sound. And to see your child go through that much pain, I wanted to hug her for that. Well, I want to one day hug her for that. But I also want to ask for that same strength for myself, because that's the feeling that I have to go through each time my children have a sickle cell crisis. And it's really hard because they're in a pain that I have never experienced before. And I can't really take away, like, honestly, like I can share this prayer with y'all just because it just came to me to share it. And like a part of my prayer when they're going through their sickle cell crisis, like, God, just give it to me. Like put their pain on me. Like I want to take it away from them. That's the only person that I can ask that kind of question to. It never happens. It's just deep sorrow, especially with my son. My son handles his sickle cell crisis like, he actually says these words and they break my heart. Like, Mom, just don't touch me. Just leave me alone, please. Like, just let me do it. Like, but you see him and he's balled up in a corner and he's crying and let's just move on. Like, that's who I would want to talk to. That's who I would want to see is Mary, because me and Mary got some things in common. Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's all 8. So that's all 8 of the questions. I would have not really wanted to end with that one, as I felt myself getting really emotional. But we made it through. We made it through. No tears, no shaky voice that I know I might listen to it and hear my voice is shaky, but I'm not going to edit it. Y'all know I don't like to edit. But that is definitely how you play. You say colorful triangles, or you point there, you open it up, you say 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then from 8, they pick 7. And they pick up 7, and you say, which miracle of Jesus would you perform? It took a little while to put this together. I put this together from scratch, if that means anything to anybody. And it just having to figure out how to have it and how to, like, I messed up on it before. I wanted to have the messed up printout here so you could see how many trials I had of trying to put this together. But I'm basically just saying that a lot of thought went into it. I had different questions. My husband told me to try again. And I appreciate him for that. He told me that I'm way more creative and I need to come up with more creative questions for people. Not that my questions were bad, but he was like, you know, there are definitely more fun questions for Christians to answer, and that is a big part of Print Pray Slay, is to have fun as Christians. That's actually like the first thing you see when you go to my website is Christians have fun. Like, life is supposed to be fun, and so I wanted this to be a nice, fun activity for your family. I'm definitely thinking about doing more in different versions. If you have a question that you would like to see in, I guess, the next version of a faith chatterbox, you can leave it in a comment below. I would really appreciate it. Next version would have different colors. I was thinking of one that'd be more neutral. They have ones that'd be more classy, some that might be more boyish in style. I can keep the same questions and just change the patterns. I mean, I just want to hear back from you all on what you think of it. I do understand that it's not for everybody, and nothing is for every person. But if you have any feedback on how to make it better, or what you would like to see a change in the next one, again, definitely if you have some fun questions to ask. But yes, please, all faith-based. I really want it to be something that kind of is definitely Christian and fun. There is a version that I know I'm going to come out with that will be blank for you to write your own questions. So I don't know when I would do something like that. I guess it really depends on how this is received. This is a cute little hand game is what I would call it. And it has this nostalgic feeling for me because I remember doing this as a kid, and it was just, this was so much fun, and we made them out of just paper. So yeah, that is all. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.